All right, everyone. I am so excited to introduce my next guest, actress, writer, loved her in Teaching Miss Tingle, Super Troopers, Freddy Got Fingered, writer of Blue Eyed Girl and star Blue Eyed Girl, and so much more. We're diving in deep with Marisa Coughlan. Hey,
Hello. Hi.
how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I am honored to have you and excited to dive into your amazing
Thank you.
career. All the goodness.
Lots of stuff on your list of like the classics. Definitely some Super Troopers would qualify, I would imagine.
Super Troopers. And I wanted to, I know there's another one coming out, so we can dive into that. I found some random thing. This isn't a role that you got, but I'm interested in the story. I found in an old article that you were auditioned for and were up for the role of Veronica Corningstone in Anchorman.
Oh, that's funny. Did it tell the whole story? I mean, it's a pretty funny story. As actress stories go. Yes, I read for it. I was up for it. I was really close. I was going back for a final callback and they were like, okay, it's really pretty much down to like you and I think one other person. I'm like, oh, okay, that's like amazing. Well, what's the vibe? They're like, just think like a Christina Applegate type. I was like, okay, so great. Who am I going up against? They're like, Christina Applegate. I'm like, guys, spoiler alert, I don't think I'm going to get that job. Pretty much sums up our business.
What was the audition process with Anchorman? I mean, was it with
Oh God, I don't remember that well other than I don't think that like for Freddy Got Fingered, I had a chemistry read with Tom. A lot of different things. I had chemistry reads and stuff, but it's not like got to have a chemistry read with Will Ferrell. I would really have enjoyed that, but no. I feel like I might have gotten it then because I just feel like we would have been in some synergy that would have been great. Although you can't talk. Christina Applegate crushed it. So what it is, what it is. I wish I could tell you we had chemistry reads together. I had a few of those. I had one with Matthew McConaughey for what's the movie he did with where it's like The Christmas Carol?
I do not know.
It's like girlfriends of it's like instead of it's ghosts of girlfriends past. Is that right? He did a movie that's like a play on that, and I had a chemistry. I've had chemistry reads with some funky people.
Who are some other chemistry reads that you've done? Well, a chemistry read is you're just kind of doing some scenes with someone else just so that they can watch and see if you jive together.
Yeah, and they like mix and match you. Like back in the day when people would audition in real life, we would go and it would be like for a sitcom and they'd have us all out in the hallway and, send me in with one guy and then send us out and send me in with another guy and send us out and send a girl. I mean, it's just all of that was so stressful. And then we would do table reads where always that was sort of about the synergy in the room and the chemistry and whatever. And I had one that was for a show I ended up doing that was called Side Order of Life, which was I was the lead and we had this table read and I would always want to throw up before every table read because you always heard stories about people who left the table read and got fired on the way home. And I was always like, it never happened to me. It still hasn't. But I was just like, I just don't want to. And this was a big part and whatever. And then we did this table read and it went well. We all left. We were all lurking in the parking lot afterwards. And the woman who played my best friend on the show, and it was very much reliant on our chemistry, was like, I'm so relieved to have that over with. I always hate it when I feel like I'm going to get fired and someone always gets fired. I'm like, I know. And then literally on my drive home, I get a call. They're like, so she got fired. And then they moved this woman Deanna Maria Riva, who you may know, she's fantastic, but she's been in everything. She played this super small part and she got promoted to be the best friend. So that was all. It was good for her. It was a win for her. But I don't know. Those things are all just nerve wracking. I have PTSD from all of it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring.
No. I'm kidding.
All right. So what is your origin? So, like, how did you know? Did you always know you wanted to be an actress? Did you always know you wanted to write and act? How did you go from Minnesota to starring in all these really cool things?
Yes, I think the answer is yes. I always knew I wanted to act. I was obsessed with movies from when I can remember. And I was an only child with divorced parents. So I think I also just had like too much time on my hands. I didn't have as many playmates. So I was like, I'll just watch that movie again. It was my escape. And I think it's what I just latched onto for what brought me a lot of joy as a kid. And So I always thought I was going to be in the business. It never, for some reason, really dawned on me to be a writer or director. I just wanted to be an actress. And I wish now in retrospect it had occurred to me earlier, like, hey, girl, you could also just, write the movie. And then, if you want to put yourself in it down the road. But I didn't do that. I did the trajectory of actress and then eventually, thankfully, found my voice as a writer. And, hopefully now I can start. I've done a little bit of directing, but I'd like to do more. And being on the other side of the camera is more fun for me. I mean, it's both are fun, but like Blue Eyed Girl, I got to kind of do all of it, which was really wonderful for me. But so anyway, I went to USC. I applied to a couple theater schools, and it was Northwestern I got into, and USC I got into this BFA, very like small program. And so I went there at 18 and got an agent right away. These two old ladies named Vivian and Estelle who would just call me and argue and leave like voicemails on my old answering machine because, we're OGs before cell phones, I think. And I just started going and auditioning and missed a lot of college classes, but did graduate because I was out driving around auditioning. And then I was sort of in like a no man's land of guest star things. I would get some jobs, but they were just like little guest star things and, victim of the week on various TV shows. And then I auditioned for Teaching Mrs. Tingle, and it just went into the vortex of auditions as they do. And I just was like, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I don't even know, a month or two later, I got a call saying, hey, they want you to go back, and there's not that many people going. And thankfully, Christina Applegate wasn't going. Otherwise, I would have been in trouble. But they're like, there's just a few people going back for this role. And, it's opposite Helen Mirren, and it's this huge movie. And I went in, and they had us do the Exorcist scene for the audition. And I think I'm the only one who was crazy enough to like really commit to it. And so I got that. And then from there, it's been kind of, it's always like this, the road in Hollywood, but I've done a lot of fun stuff in the interim. So thank God for that.
What was it like kind of locking in a movie? This is Kevin Williamson's directorial debut.
Yes.
And like you said, you're working with Katie Holmes.
Yeah.
And so she's hot on Dawson's Creek.
Could not literally have been more famous. We went and did press once. We went to the Bahamas, some kind of like giant resort in the Bahamas to do, I don't even know why we went there, but we all flew there to do press for the movie. Barry Watson, who was on Seventh Heaven and like a real heartthrob at the time. And then Katie Holmes, who was on every billboard. Like she was the most famous human ever in that moment in time. And we went to this casino, and I think it was spring break or something. And it was like, we would just be standing and talking, and it was like slowly the room of hundreds of people in this casino would percolate and start to realize who it was. And they would just like swarm, and then we would move, and then the swarm would follow. And it was weird because I was just starting out and no one knew who I was. And so I was just kind of this observer of it. And it was a real fever pitch frenzy around those guys. So yeah, it was intimidating. I mean, it was the most fun I've probably ever had in my life. Like that summer shooting that movie was so much fun. I mean, Super Troopers was really fun too. But part of it was, that saying, if you're not feeling afraid, then you're probably not doing enough. Like you're not pushing yourself enough. So I was like definitely intimidated. We had the dreaded table read for that movie where it was like me and Helen Mirren. I mean, it was fantastic. Helen Mirren could not have been more gracious and wonderful. And it was very fun. And yeah, it was a lot of kind of pinching myself that I went from like, should I just quit because I'm just doing bad guest star things and stupid TV shows I don't even want to watch, to that, which was a nice win when I needed it.
That's really cool. And I mean, Helen Mirren is incredible. And then, did you stay close to Katie Holmes? Were you at the wedding?
I was not at the wedding. We were very close for a super long time. And then she started dating Tom Cruise. And I think I heard about it and I called her and I was like, hey, it's me. Are you dating Tom Cruise? I never talked to her. I think she married him and then went kind of into hiding, and then just went remotely into their world, their little bubble they were in, until she left him. And so now we've been in touch a little bit since then. It was a weird couple years, I think, for her.
Yeah, because that was Tom Cruise. It was her that when he was jumping on the couch on Oprah.
Yes, on Oprah. Yes. Yeah, it was a real strange phase.
So Kevin Williamson, he went on to do Scream, and he was doing Dawson's Creek, and then you're doing this movie. This movie I read was originally called Killing Miss Tingle. And
Yes.
like there was sometimes movies just have bad timing, right? With because
Yes.
Columbine had happened.
Yes, we reshot the whole ending. I've actually, because Kevin's directing Scream 7, there's a real renewed interest in teaching Mrs. Tingle and kind of Kevin's directing and everything. And I've had just yesterday, someone sent me an Instagram post that was comparing me in the first portion of the movie and then to me at the very end of the movie, because I'm very clearly wearing a wig for the reshoots because we had to go reshoot the whole ending after that happened. And it was, listen, it was a terrible tragedy, and so it is what it is. But it definitely it altered the movie and the success of the movie too. I think really because there was just so much. It was a time in our history and in our country where nobody was really in the mood to go watch something that could in any way have to do with something like that in high school. But it was a really, I mean, I'm super proud of what the movie is, and with the new ending too, it's a little more fun and lighter and less horror, and it's a cute movie. My kids enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean it happens. I mean, like even with Kevin, I think Scream 2 or something, there was some original ideas and there was a different, I think, school shooting, and then they had to kind of change entire plots of it because of
Yeah.
it can happen. So all right, so that's cool that there's getting renewed interest. That's fun when things can, because sometimes things have like later like this whole cult status and things just
Well,
happen.
I just feel lucky because I mean, Super Troopers, obviously, with 2 and now 3, there's a lot of renewed excitement there. And then I think with Teaching Mrs. Tingle, there's a lot of, so it's good timing for me with the movie coming out, whatever. It's like fun to be able to talk about the stuff that I did in the past, but that's actually really relevant right now too, which makes it kind of more fun.
You did another show with him, Wasteland.
Yeah.
Not Was it frustrating to be working with Kevin Williamson and like the kind of bad timing with the other movie, and then this show gets canceled
Yes.
almost immediately, and it's like, wait, he's been doing Dawson's Creek.
Totally. I was like, between that and Tom Green, I was like, I'm gonna be with these back to back these two people that like everything they touches turns to gold. Everything. Unless, God forbid, you put me in it. But then on the flip side, Super Troopers was like totally unknown people that I had no expectations for that to do anything. And that took off. So, like, again, our business is so unpredictable, I mean, yes, it was frustrating that those things didn't pan out the way they could have. That being said, I was super psyched to be invited to the party because like I said, I was sort of languishing in whatever guest star land. I'm like, yes, I'll be in Teaching Mrs. Tingle. And even if it's not a huge blockbuster hit like the other ones, that's okay. The level of fame that those guys were getting off of, Dawson's and everything, honestly seemed so overwhelming that I was like happy to be like, let's just stay in this lane where it's like, you're doing well and you're doing what you love to do, but you're not living in that sort of hot spotlight.
Wasteland, as I was kind of digging into it, was listed on TV's most censored moments. What would have been? Do you know what that would have been?
What? Really?
All right, never mind.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I was just sometimes I like look at Wasteland was originally capital LA because it was going to take place in LA, and then I know they moved it to New York.
Yes, we did, and I can't imagine what would have been super censored about that show. It was like pretty. I don't know. That's so interesting. I'll have to go look that up later myself.
All right. Well, when you let me know, and we'll do it. Well, let's talk Super Troopers. You brought it up a couple times. You got the poster behind you.
Yes, this is my office.
It's a great poster. Well, talk to me about the audition process for that, because this is kind of coming into like a world where Broken Lizard Group, where this is a group, this is a troupe, a comedy troupe, and like you're going to become part of this machine. This orchestra of comedy. So what's
funny because it ties in pretty closely to what we were just talking about, which is I actually just got a call from my agent saying we have an offer for you for this movie. It was Super Troopers, and it was a tiny, tiny little budget movie shooting in upstate New York with nobody really I'd heard of. And I was like, I mean, those movies are such a crapshoot, right? Like 99% of the little movies I've done of that size have just gone into no man's land. But the script was so, so, so funny, like just on the page, which is saying a lot because usually they're like kind of funny on the page and then it's the act, it was so funny on the page. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this is for sure. I'll do this. So I met all of them for the first time, really, when I showed up on set. But then I learned later that Jay cast me because kind of random, actually, because George Clooney had like a best friend slash assistant named Amy Cohen who knew us a little bit, knew me a little bit. And she went and saw Teaching Mrs. Tingle, and she was friends with Jay. And she's like, listen, I know you're casting some roles in your movie. You should go see this girl in this movie because she's really good. And I feel like you're going to like her. And so he went to the movies by himself and went and saw the movie and saw the Exorcist thing and then told the rest of the guys he thought that I should be Ursula. So that's how that happened.
That's impressive. Put in that amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, it is impressive. Jay's a very thoughtful. I really love Jay. We're pretty good friends. I really think the world of him. But yeah, and lucky me. You know, all the hours you spend as an actress, like auditioning, and so it's nice when and you stand there and you're like, I have done. At various points in your career, you're like, I have done you can go rent movies I'm in. Just like, why do am I auditioning for this? And then sometimes it works out and they're like, they went and saw you in the movie. They liked you. They make the offer and you're done. You're like, okay, that's how it should go. Please, universe.
You said it was funny on the page. Was there still a lot of kind of improvisation? Was it still?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I would say yes, because those guys bring so much to it anyway, but they are also, as much as their persona in the movies is like stoner and party and kind of funny, their scripts are like, they're very tight. They work on them very hard and they have those jokes down. And when you're on set, there's 5 of them writing it. So it's also sometimes you'll be on set and you'll notice someone knows the joke better than somebody else. And you're like, oh, that was your joke. And then when you guys were sitting around writing it, but they pass it around a lot. And it's by the time they're shooting it, it is like a very tight script that is solidly funny and not as much as they can improv on set, and they will, like, it's certainly not relying upon that because it's on the page very good. I just remember reading the meow sequence and I sent it to one of my best friends from college who was an actor. I'm like, you got to just read this because am I crazy or is this like the funniest thing I've read in years? And he called me. He's like, you have to do that movie. It's so funny. So thankfully.
Well, from what you just described, it sounds like the improvisation is sort of, they're so tight, they can kind of do a lot of that back and forth because they understand each other's voices so well.
Yes.
By the time they get to it, they can maybe choose to add it, but they probably have honed that joke pretty well.
I'm sure the editing process is honestly pretty tough because even when we just did 3, there's a lot of moments that he'll just he'll let them riff a joke at the end and whatever. And I'm sure in the end of the day, it's like really hard to pick which joke is there's a lot to choose from. It's an embarrassment of riches, I guess, but he does let people. And then of course, like in this movie, he brought in all the movies, there's other characters and they come in and they're ad-libbing because they're comedians. I mean, this movie, especially the third one, he brought in like a lot of like actual like comedians. So I'm sure it's hard to pilfer through all of that and decide what to keep because it's probably all pretty funny.
And Brian Cox is, he's a good actor.
Yeah, I mean, and at the time he was really known, I think, for stage, and he was known, I think, in our business, but I don't think a household name by any stretch. And then in the interim, obviously, with Succession, I think we were psyched he came back and played in the Super Troopers world again after his many Emmys.
I think it says a lot about someone that will come back to a role like that after they become super famous.
Definitely. I agree with that.
He was the original Hannibal Lecter.
He was?
In the movie, they made a movie before the trilogy with that we know. It was called Manhunter, and he was Hannibal Lecter.
Really? I did not know that, but I can see it.
Yeah. You're talking about 3, but coming back for 2 many years later after doing 1, was that super fun? Did that just gel again? Is it by the time now you're doing the 3rd one, is it just like you all get together, you just click, the new people?
Yeah. I mean, I would say me personally, I just had a baby when they did the 2nd one. And so I literally flew in, worked for 1 day and flew out. I'm barely in the 2nd one. I think for those guys, yes, I think they're so used to each other anyway. They've made all those other movies outside of the Super Troopers movies and they hire their friends. And so I would say yes. Although I would say this 3rd one, I think across the board, everybody was like, this is so awesome that we get to do this again. And the script was so funny, and it's like a little bit more of a 4-quadrant storyline, and there were more women in the cast. Like, it's just a different vibe, and it was in a good way. Like, it was really, really fun. And I think something about this one, it felt like everybody clicked, and it felt like everybody just felt like we are unbelievably psyched and lucky to all get to come back and do this again. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be really good.
So there was like 17-ish years between the first two, and then about, was it like 7 years since?
Yeah,
ish,
I know.
ish?
I'm like, guys, just start writing 4. Let's do this. Come
Yeah.
on.
Are you in 3
Yeah.
more than you were in 2 then? Is it more?
Yes, definitely more in 3. And like, it's funny because they were waiting on, I think, the studio to greenlight number 2 forever. And I kept saying, I don't think you guys realize, because I was like, I'm in it, but I'm not in it. Like, I'm not actually Broken Lizard. So I would hear from fans so much about the level of enthusiasm for Super Troopers. I'm like, you guys need to make a sequel. And if you need to crowdsource it. Like, you can do that. You have actually passionate enough fans that they will send you money to make this movie. And then, I'm not saying it's because of me, but eventually they realized, you know what, this is taking so long, maybe we should just try it. And then it was like, as you know, I'm sure, like gangbusters level of excitement, and they crowdsourced it. And then the studio ended up making a lot of money from that, because I think whatever their side of it was, made a lot of money for them. So they were like, oh, okay, maybe we should have done this a little sooner. And yes, to a number 3.
So you're excited to be back, and then we can expect more of Officer Ursula in this one.
Yes.
Is there anything you can share about it? Give me a spoiler. Give me an exclusive. You can even make
there's
something up.
a very fun Bollywood sequence. There's romance and there's Bollywood. So it's just kind of, like I said, it kind of brings in like a whole bunch of other things that haven't been as much in the first 2. So it just amplifies the fun, in my opinion.
Awesome. And so, I mean, were they part of the inspiration to help move you into writing and wanting to direct and then starring in your own thing? Because I mean, that's kind of their thing, right? They wrote, and then
Yes.
you
Yeah.
directed it. Everyone starred in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they are an inspiration, because they did, just from day one, really, just let's just make it, let's just do it. And I think it's really easy to fall into the trap of waiting for other people's permission. And you get to a certain point where you're like, I just can't, I just want to go be unbridled and be able to make something that I actually want to make. And also, I was on a different show for a while that I was number 1 on the call sheet, which is really what you want, where you want to be, right? It's what you dream about as an actor, to like land in that position and be able to be working that much. And I, as grateful as I was for it, I felt like a real lack of a sense of agency on set. I felt like I was just like, stand there, say your lines, now you leave. And I was like, but I have an idea. I think we already shot the sequence just like this in the last episode. And I felt kind of frustrated by the fact that I didn't have any real say in any of it. And so I just, after that, kind of decided, okay, as much as I love acting, and I do, I also want to write. I also want to tell stories that are meaningful to me. I also want to do all the things. So I think it was more a sense of frustration on the acting side than anything else.
In TV specifically, it's kind of the writer that's kind of in charge.
Yeah. And I think there's like for whatever reason, often people can be a bit dismissive towards actors and like, oh, whatever, we're in charge over here. We're the smart ones. And you're going, I'm not saying always, but sometimes. And I just kept feeling that way. I'm like, what am I doing? So then I was on Boston Legal for a season or 2, like a recurring arc thing. And I got the nerve up to write an episode of that because I had a really fun character on that show. And so I didn't have kids yet. I had time on my hands. So I went and wrote a sample episode of Boston Legal and gave, of course, my character, like, shamelessly self-promoting, gave myself this really fun arc in the episode. And then I brought it to work one day like a little student. I'm like, I have a script to show some people. And Julie Bowen was in the makeup trailer with me. She's like, please don't do that. This is not going to go well for you. And then I did anyway. And actually, this woman, Neely Swanson, who ended up just randomly as a Rotten Tomatoes reviewer and reviewed our movie, Blue Eyed Girl, she was in charge at that time of hiring writers for David Kelly. And so it made its way to her. And then she called me in for a meeting and she's like, I really think you're a writer. And so that from there on, I kind of embraced writing and have been doing it ever since.
Were you able to, did they make that episode or it just became a solid spec script for you?
Yeah, it was a solid spec. She's like, she said, I feel like you've captured their voices more than most people can. However, it's way too out there because Denny Crane had a long lost cousin and the cousin showed up and it was a llama. So I don't know. It was, but David Kelly did weird stuff. So I did it. So I wasn't totally surprised they didn't make it. But yeah, anyway, it gave me the boost of confidence I needed.
That's amazing. My TikTok feed is probably 20% James Spader, William Shatner, Boston Legal clips.
That's funny because on Instagram, the last 3 days, I've posted 2 clips from Boston Legal because they felt, I'm in Minneapolis where we're having, perhaps you've heard, a bit of turmoil. And, David Kelly is obviously like unbelievably gifted at processing what's happening in the world and putting it into his word and his art. And so there was an episode we did called Stick It, where the government's coming after me for not paying my taxes. And I could go back after the government and say, well, you guys are mishandling this country. Anyway, I reposted a clip from it 2 days ago because I was like, wow, this feels relevant right now. So.
Well, that's why I think, like, to your point, and like why I think they go around, it's like everything he does, even though it was written over a decade ago, could have been written last week. And everything. It would still have been as relevant a monologue.
Yes.
Like when he's talking to the Supreme Court or, whatever he's doing.
Completely. It's crazy. When the whole New Orleans flooding levee thing happened, I was in the middle of an episode when that happened. And literally, that was probably a Tuesday. And by Friday, I had the next episode script in my dressing room. And it was about that. I mean, he just is so smart that he can just take the things. And I don't even know why he has a writer's room, because I'm sure they don't get to do much. Because if you can observe the world and what's happening and then process it and crank out production level scripts in like 2 days, I don't know how anyone can really help you with that. But yeah, he's amazing.
How was James Spader? And I mean, did you work with, I know you were his assistant on the show, right? And
yeah.
And was Candace Bergen on at that time, or William Shatner? Were they in those?
She was. I was really with James almost only. I mean, pretty much exclusively my scenes were with James Spader. And then, I mean, maybe one scene with Denny Crane, but the rest of them I almost never saw. Listen, he's so phenomenally talented. I mean, he was not the friendliest ever on set. I mean, he would sometimes be like engage with me and talk. And some days I was like, what's happening? Am I here right now? But he is also a very focused actor who was preparing monologues that were very long and very substantial. He would do the first take. They'd be rehearsing before the cameras were even rolling. They would do a take and it was just unbelievable. So I had to give him a little bit of leeway because he's crazy talented. And I mean, for David Kelly, when you're able to write words like that, and then you have James Spader delivering them, like I can't imagine a better synergy.
There's something about James Spader, just the way he talks, it's mesmerizing. Like even on the Blacklist, I mean, it's like, all right, so
it's kind of an atypical cadence, I guess, right? It's like a little bit almost monotone in a way that makes it seem even more you want to lean in.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about your writing for a little bit. I've got some other odds and ends stuff I want to kind of just throw at you, but so back to write. Sorry. So you write the script for Boston Legal, and then now flash forward, you just wrote and starred in Blue-Eyed Girl, and we can talk about that. But then also in my research, you wrote a bunch of other stuff too, right? Like Pilot Lost and Found, Peter and Wendy.
I've probably sold about 16 network shows. I've written a lot of TV in the interim, which has been great. And I honestly, is when I started writing, I wrote a dramatic family, kind of light family dramedy. And then I wrote a Boston Legal spec. And I don't think I even knew that my voice as a writer was comedic. I mean, and I honestly probably didn't even know that about as an actress, but here I am. I've landed like very squarely in comedy as an actress, but also as a writer. When I started to write almost everything I've sold has been a half hour comedy for network or cable, but I've written a lot of comedy in the interim. And then Blue Eyed Girl, I sort of wrote, my dad passed away and we came back to Minneapolis and we were living in LA, and I just started thinking about, I don't know, it just called into question all sorts of things about life and grief and all the things. And so I wrote that. And even though everything else I've written has been more comedic, it's kind of like a combination. I mean, Eliza Coupe is in the movie. She's one of the funnier people I know. There's a lot of comedy in it, but there's a lot more sort of actual introspection and kind of dramatic stuff as well. And which was sort of it was kind of nice to flex those muscles after it had been a while as an actor and a writer, I guess.
Good comedy can lean on drama as well, because they're so close.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. And I think when my dad died, I remember that night we were sitting around laughing hysterically, telling stories about, I mean, like you said, they walk hand in hand, and it's really hard to do stuff that's really intense without something to undercut it a little bit. And so in the movie, there's a lot of that dance between the two.
How long ago did your father pass away?
20 years ago.
Oh, 20 years ago. Okay.
You'd think I'd be over it by now.
No, my dad about 10 years ago. And
yeah,
I always describe, you always have the hole in your heart. Just maybe gets a little smaller. You can deal with it a little better.
Yeah.
But it never goes away. So I was just curious. I was seeing like if David Kelly can do it the next day, how long between the events for you?
No. No, I wrote it a lot later, but I also wrote it because we had been in LA, and then when we were in Minneapolis, it like stirred up to a lot of memories, and because my childhood had been here with him, and so it was sort of this weird nostalgic overload of like all of the stuff I was thinking and feeling at that age, and my dad, and dreams of Hollywood, and all the things kind of came crashing around me at once. And so I sort of wrote it about, it's kind of a midlife crisis movie.
It's great though that you could kind of take from your real life and then kind of process everything. And
yeah, I mean, a lot of it is made up. Like the love story part of it is basically made up, but drawn certainly from people I know and stories I hear. And I wrote it in large part because I think this midlife section is a tricky one. And I'm watching my friends navigate things, and you're navigating your parents getting older and your kids growing up and many years into marriage, how that looks and all the things, and your career, and if it's where you thought it would be or where you wanted to go. And it's a weird time in life. There are lots of questions that have been answered, and yet many questions that have yet to be answered. And so it's just, I think, kind of ripe for a little bit more unpacking in movies, and especially for women. There's not that much that speaks to the female kind of midlife crisis, and so that was the goal.
That's amazing. And you got to Beau Bridges as your dad.
Yeah. Yes, that was a real win. When we decided to make it, we were like, you know what, let's just cast the most sort of well-known actor we can get for the dad character, because we can block shoot that for a week. So we're not asking that much for this person. But also if we get someone great, it'll help us attract, other actors who want to work with, who it'll lend credibility or whatever. And so we went through a list, and it was just like, because on some level it was inspired by my actual dad. That's tricky, right? Because it's just hard to find the person that kind of feels right. And so I was like, no. I mean, great actors, we'd be lucky to have them, but also no, it doesn't seem like the right. And then I got to Beau's name. I'm like, there's literally no one else. So if he says no, we can't make the movie. And then I wrote him a letter. I'd worked with his son, so I had a little bit of connection to him. I wrote him a letter, and we sent the script and an offer, and he said yes. And so that helped us a lot to get, like I said, other actors, but also just investors, everything, because people know him and love him. And I like working with actors like that. You never know if you're going to be, the like, don't ever meet your heroes thing, if you're going to love them in real life or if you're not. And he's better than I could have imagined as a person, as a father and a husband, and as like just his human normal life. He's just the best person. And he's so riveting, I think, in our movie, just the way he portrays it. And I was super lucky and happy to have him with us.
That's amazing. And where can we watch this movie?
So Blue Eyed Girls on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, think it's on Paramount now too. I think we just did a thing with Paramount. And I think you can rent it anywhere, like rent or buy it on Fandango and any of those kind of places. But if you are a member on Amazon Prime, you can stream it for free. So
Awesome.
yeah.
And you're right. Eliza Coop is hilarious.
Hilarious. Talk about chemistry. I met her. The two of us were like, like we were like crackling because she's so funny, but I just love her energy. She's really, and she really stands out. She's really, really, really standout performance in our movie. She's so funny and also allows herself to be vulnerable in a way that she doesn't always get the chance to do in other things because she's always kind of the witty, sarcastic one. So she's fabulous.
You started this process, probably a few years ago, right? Did it match your vision when it's finally done? Did it exceed your expectations or?
I mean, yeah, I'm really proud of it. I think there's things that, of course, with an extra couple $1 million would be different. But yeah, honestly, I am. I'm really proud of it. And I feel like for us, it's also just this bizarro time capsule because we shot it in Minneapolis. I live here now. We shot it in our little town. We basically go to dinner on a Friday night in, and we shot it in the pub where we like to hang out. And my kids are in the movie. I mean, so it's like there's so many levels of it. But yeah, it's kind of a pinch me moment that we did get it this far. And I am really proud of what we did. But, it's an indie movie. It's not like we had $40 million to make the thing. And so I feel really fortunate that we got to see it to the finish line. It's actually like out there. And I was saying to someone today, we get in the beginning, of course, your friends watch it and your long lost cousins watch it and whatever. But now, because it's been out a little while, I start to hear from just strangers online a lot that just randomly saw the trailer and decided to watch it and take the time to write to me and say, like, I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be this light rom-com, and then it actually really resonated with me and my life and my whatever it is. And so that part of it to me is super gratifying because to put something out in the world, I mean, that's the hope, right? That it does resonate, that it does help somebody or move them in some way. So that part's been really fun.
That's amazing. And it must inspire you to want to do it again and again.
It does. I mean, it was, I would need more help this time. I mean, I had help, but still in the end, it was my baby. So like in the music and it was a lot. And so, yeah, I do want to do it again, but next time I need a full team to do posts and all the things. But yes, I plan to do it again. I have to, because I feel like I went to film school and learned all the things about how to do beginning, middle, and end of a movie. And I know what not to do and what to do next time around, or at least a lot better than I did. So yeah, I hope to go do it again.
Of the 16 scripts that you mentioned you sold earlier, have those been turned into shows as well, or some of them? Or
some of them have, some of them haven't. Yeah, like a lot of things just go into development land, and then I sold one show like 3 times, I think, and still no one made it, even though it's probably my favorite thing I ever wrote. And I literally sold it to 3 different networks. But yeah, a few of them have, I forget which ones, but yeah, it just sort of is, it's always a weird exercise of kind of chasing what they want. It's all about sitcoms, and then it's not. And then it's all about single camera half hours, and then it's not. And then it's about light dramedy, whatever. But I've been lucky to be able to write a lot of comedy and then make some of it. And
if you sell something, like you mentioned you sold it 3 times. So at some point, does it revert back to you? So if you really are passionate about it, you can try to move it to somebody else? Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I did just write a show that I wrote it after we shot the movie. And so I had in my mind, okay, now I know that you want to if you want to be on a budget, like make 3 locations, don't do a full company move in the middle of a shoot day. So I did it with production in mind. And I got really, really close to selling it as a spec, which is a different beast, but to ABC. And then they didn't end up they made like one thing this year. So anyway, it is basically reverted back to me. And I've debated heavily trying to make that because I feel like I could do that in a week. I could probably make that pilot. So I'm thinking about it. I just have to get my nerve up to take it all on again.
You can do it.
I was trying to because Nat Faxon is in Super Troopers 3. And we had a lot of like car rides and days when they were shooting huge group things. And the 2 of us were talking, and he's a writer. I mean, he's been nominated for Oscars level writer, but I was like, how would you feel about playing my husband in a pilot? Because I have this pilot, you'd be really good. So I'm trying to put all the pieces together.
Tell me more about working with, we mentioned earlier, Tom Green and Freddy Got Fingered and just that. I mean, because this is early 2000s, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Green was a thing for a while, but very crazy kind of comedy. Like he was a little bit out there, right? Like,
God, you can say that a few hundred more times.
was he like
Um,
that? Just normal?
no, the truth is Tom is like a really nice, normal, grounded guy. Like he was great. We rehearsed. There's a scene up on the roof of a building, and we've like broken up or something, and he shows up in a helicopter, and the helicopter lands on the roof. I mean, which we shot all of this on the roof of this building, and he comes running out of the helicopter with a bag of jewels. I can't even say without laughing now. And he's like, but I brought you Betty, but I brought you jewels, Betty, jewels. And he hands me this random velvet bag filled with like a bunch of fake jewels. And we would rehearse it in this, the Sutton Place in Vancouver, which is where everyone shoots that stuff. And we would rehearse it in this like ballroom, whatever, before we were shooting. We could not get through it. Like every time we tried to rehearse it, we would die laughing. So I loved him. We had so much fun. He was married to Drew Barrymore then. That's how long ago. It was like another era. He was lovely and I really liked him, but I was not prepared for how insane the movie was. I mean, I should have been. I did get the script, but I guess in my mind I thought maybe someone somewhere would put a little bit of, I don't know, try to control it a tiny bit. And no one really did. They just unleashed the Tom Green of it all. So that movie is pretty crazy. It has a huge cult following because I hear from people all the time on socials, but it's a crazy movie to be a part of.
Well, just the fact that that title got all the way through.
Oh, trust me. I have kids. They're like, what other movies have you been in? I'm like, oh, there's another one called Freddy. I just stop. I'm like, we don't need to go any deeper into that. It begs too many questions.
Oh man. All right. This is just a random one off from your thing, but I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan. So you were in the early 2000 reboot, an episode. I'm sure that was just a thing, but did you love the Twilight Zone or that was just a job for you?
It was just a job. Yeah. I don't even remember what I did in that Twilight Zone.
All right. Well,
sorry, that's not very exciting for you, but I'm glad.
You have disappointed me. All right, here's your moment of redemption. Space Station 76.
Yes.
Speaking of fellow writers, Jennifer Elise Cox wrote that, right? Or co-wrote it, right?
Yeah, I think there was like a group of them that they had like an improv, or they did sort of a theater version of it, and then they turned it into a movie. And I mean, I love that movie. Is really weird too, but I love it, and it was so great. And the role, it was a lucky break that I got to be in that movie. I mean, it was one of those where they're like, hey, do you want to come be in this movie with Matt Bomer, Liv Tyler, Patrick Wilson? I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. Also, I thought, in my opinion, the best role in the movie was this role, Misty, that I got to do. So that was a fantastically fun experience.
You have a lot of like you've worked with a lot of huge names, like Meet Bill, like Aaron Eckhart, Jessica Alba, Jason Sudeikis. I mean, Elizabeth Banks. You can get all these people in your pilot.
You think Elizabeth Banks is available to play my sister in a pilot? I'll call her.
She's awesome. She did Wet Hot. I know. She did Wet Hot American Summer. She went back.
That's true. That's true. No, you're right. I mean, especially when I sit like this and for an hour really go through it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's, especially because enough of them they're sort of weirdly have the little cult, the Teaching Mrs. Tingle horror thing and the Super Troopers and the Freddy Got Fingered. They all have, none of them are in the same world, but they definitely have their loyal fans.
All the work that you've done that we have not mentioned. What's your favorite one that you think people should see, or that's one of your favorite things?
Gosh, that's a really good question. I mean, Side Order of Life, maybe. I mean, honestly, I would say Space Station 76, even though we did talk about it. I feel like a lot of people have never seen that movie because it just kind of, I don't know, for whatever reason, they didn't make enough noise with the press or whatever, but it's such a good movie with such a great cast. So I would say probably that. Side Order of Life, yes. I'm definitely proud of that show. or Wasteland. I wish there was a way to put I wish Kevin should get Wasteland back out there now that his movie's coming out, because I get, again, DMs from people about that show all the time. They're like, where can I find it? I want to watch the whole series somewhere, but I don't know where to point them.
I read for Wasteland that they bumped David Lynch, pilot from Mulholland Drive, for your show Wasteland.
And then canceled us after like 3 episodes. That
Yeah.
feels like bad decision making. I hope they went crying back to David Lynch.
Was Side Order of Life the one you mentioned earlier that drove you to writing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a great I loved the cast. I loved the creator. The DP is still like a good friend of mine. It was just that I was there so much, and they'd bring in a new director and blah, blah, blah. And I just felt like I felt my hands were too tied. When you're there 15 hours a day and you know what's happening there more than anyone else, because you're there when all the other cast goes home and comes back. I was there so much that I was like, well, this is a bummer. Like, I should be. And then after that, I was like, I'm going to be a producer. But then it was me chasing writers. And then finally I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll stop chasing writers. I'm just going to become the writer. And maybe that will be an easier way to figure out. And that was the right path for me, because it turns out all those years I'd been trying to find writers and pitching ideas. It's like, I just was a writer. I just should have been writing my own ideas when I was 18 or 20, not waiting until I was 30.
Well, you're on the path now, so you're going to just continue to rock it. We got Blue Eyed Girl on Amazon Prime. Space Station 76 is on the Roku channel for free. I think also on Amazon Prime as well. So
I think so, yeah.
That is the homework for Marisa. And then everyone has to go watch. And then Super Troopers 3. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and sharing.
Well, thank you. It's super fun. It's great to be able to, like I said, it's crazy to actually go through them all in a row. You're like, oh yeah, it's fun to talk about and kind of put it all together in 1 hour and relive a lot of things. So thank you for that.
Oh, no, my pleasure. Thanks for going through all the greatest hits with me and the new stuff. And it's very exciting. And I'm excited for your new movie. Everyone, once this breaks, I mean, the Amazon's just going, like they're brown.
I know. I can feel it. I can feel it in the air.
You feel it in the air. You're awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Wonderful to meet you.
So great meeting you as well. I'll put links to everything in the show notes so everyone knows where everything is and where they can find all the stuff that we talked about.
Well, thank you. I'll talk to you again maybe when we've got some more to recap on. Talk to you soon.